evening to everyone that is here. Before we begin, I'm going to go ahead and just do a roll call vote. This is going to proceed a little slightly different just due to the fact that our chairman is absent. So first, going to start with the roll call vote here. Board Member Kyle Deary.
Here.
Board Member Danielle Peoples.
Here.
Board Member Kip Paragoy. Let the record show he is absent. And Chairman Brad Jefferson. Let the record show he is absent. Board Member Rusty Ingram.
Here.
Board Member Kelly Kaiser.
Here.
Board Member Thomas Brownell.
Here.
And Board Member Marshall Bowden.
Here.
And I'm sure you're aware, I did release an email prior to us actually pursuing to this meeting, but the board essentially needs to have someone to lead this meeting. So is there a volunteer that would like to stand in the chairman's place to move forward?
Go ahead, Russ.
Okay, I'll do it, I guess.
All right, and the board's going to have to, do a vote in reference to Board Member Ingram pursuing or going forward to be acting chairman. So,
if someone like to make a motion to nominate Rusty to be the presiding officer for tonight.
I'll motion that for tonight we nominate Rusty to be our chairperson.
Second. There's a second. There's a motion and a second. All in favor, if you signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Mr. Ingram, do you accept?
I do.
Very good, because you've already been appointed.
Thank you. Okay,
And if you'll lead us in tonight's meeting, we'd appreciate it.
will do. I will forego using the gavel as our chairman does, but let's call the July 18th New Bern Planning and Zoning Board meeting to order. And we've done a roll call. So do we need to do that after I take over the meeting, or are we good for that?
We're fine.
Okay.
and I apologize, we do have a quorum, so.
Okay, and we do it. Okay, so if everyone would join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I guess we can forego the chairman's remarks. Since we have people here to speak, we don't have rules and procedures just yet. I guess we need to figure out if the board would like to have folks who are here speak on each of the items. If so, we need to have a motion to have that happen.
I'll make a motion to have the public minutes to be limited to 3 minutes.
3 minutes.
A second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Okay. So let's start with action item 5A. Kendrick, do you have a presentation for us on that item?
Before I begin, folks, were you here for a specific item? Just wanted to make sure, I didn't know if you were trying to speak for one item.
Just listen, what we get back to the next development. We had this article for this week, in the front of the development.
Okay. If you'll do me a favor and just sign in, if you're not speaking, you can just sign in on the one. Okay. Thank you. All right, and good evening to the board. I appreciate everyone being here. I'll go ahead and start with this first item. And the first item here is Olympic Harbour, Phase 1, Section A at Blue Water Rise. This is a planned unit development. This is the final plat. This is for major subdivision 002914, 2024. The applicant is John G. Thomas, PE, owner and principal engineer, Thomas Engineering, PA. And the owner is Sydes Construction Incorporated. The location is towards the County Line Road. This is for, within New Bern, North Carolina. And the existing zoning is residential 8, or R-8. The size is 0.12 total acres. And just a quick overview, the proposed final plat as part of a planned unit development is for one lot and is designated as open space. And the subject property, again, is zoned as R-8. And this is essentially established through or within our current, the current City of New Bern's land use ordinance. And the purpose for residential district, once again, is providing comfortability, healthy, safe, and pleasant environment. And the first map here that you see is a vicinity map. This is on a larger scale. The parcel itself, just so that you're familiar and understanding, when we were producing these maps or the GIS working with that department, they had a difficult time trying to size in that small of a parcel, or at least a location. So that's why you see the larger vicinity map here. And this is just a reflection of the buffer map to show for the noticing of the 100-foot buffer. And here is trying to kind of zoom in on that area. It's actually on the far left side. I think that's probably the easiest way to say it, or west if you want to say it. It's towards the top corner of the property. And here is the zoning map, which also reflects that R-8 zoning district. And lastly, there is actually the Plat map, just specifying that location. And if the board has any questions, I'll take those at this time for this item.
So this area is a piece of this larger lot, and I believe there's three action items on the agenda tonight. And do all three of those, am I correct, that comprise that entire area that was crosshatched?
Yes,
Crosshatched on the picture?
they're within the massive vicinity map that you saw
Okay.
in the first slide there for
Okay.
the maps. But yes, all three of those are within that same parcel.
And why are we splitting them up into three different pieces?
I would have to defer to the applicant.
Okay, so the applicant has done that.
Yeah.
Is the applicant here?
The applicant is here, yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Can we ask you that question?
it might be hard, I know you said that he's a little bit hard of hearing, so it
Okay.
might be difficult, but you'll have to speak loud once he
Sure.
approaches. So.
Sure, no problem.
But did the
Okay.
board have any other questions?
Yeah, anybody else have any questions? So can you tell us why this is split into three different applications for the same lot? Why you've done that?
Yes, I'm John Thomas with Thomas Engineering in New Bern.
Yes, sir.
Well, they have different neighborhood names is a real reason.
Okay,
They're all part of the Blue Water Rise community, but they have different neighborhood names, so we need to divide them up into separate neighborhoods, three separate plats. That's the reason why.
okay. Okay, thank you.
And I do apologize, I missed one slide, but basically that was for the staff evaluation. Just essentially to say that this does meet and address all requirements as set forth for the City of New Bern's land use ordinance, and all the comments from DRC were addressed.
Okay. And the pleasure of the board on this particular item.
Motion that we approve this. Do we have, what type of motion do we need to make?
This would be a motion to approve the final plat for Olympic Harbor Phase 1.
I make a motion that we approve the submission of this final plat for Olympic Harbor Phase 1.
I'll second that.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, motion carries. Let's move on to 5B. Kendrick?
All right, and our next item here is Atlas Valley Phase 1, Section A at Blue Water Rise. This is also a plan unit development final plat. It's a subdivision or major subdivision 002-915, 2024. And again, the application is submitted by John G. Thomas, PE, owner, principal engineer, Thomas Engineering, PA, and the owner, once again, is Sydes Construction Incorporated. This is close to, or the location is near County Line Road, New Bern, North Carolina. The existing zoning is residential 8, or R-8, and the size of this property, or at least portion, is 0.23. And the overview is very similar to the previous item. The proposed final plat as part of a plan unit development is for one lot that is designated as open space. The subject property, again, is zoned as R-8, and this is an established district within the current City of New Bern's land use ordinance. The purpose of the residential districts, once more, is providing comfortability, healthy, safe, and a pleasant environment to which to live. And the vicinity map, once more, is going to be pretty much exactly the same as the previous item, but this is to give you the full picture as to understanding. And again, we work with the mapping folks to try to identify the location as best as possible, but this is the full vicinity. And second to that, again, is the buffer map, just reflecting the mail notice. And this is actually the location, in at least in terms of where, somewhere within this area, it was not pulling up on the computer well to identify the specific location, but gives you an idea. And here is the zoning map as well to reflect the R-8 or residential 8 zoning district once more. And this is actually the plat map, just signifying that location. And the staff evaluation here, the proposed subdivision does meet all requirements set forth within the City of New Bern's land use ordinance, and all comments were addressed from the DRC. And if the board has any questions, I'll take those at this time.
No questions?
No questions.
Okay. Pleasure of the board on this item.
I motion that we approve final plat for this action item.
A second.
Okay. I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Let's move on to 5C.
For our next item here, this is Monitor Cape Phase 2, Section A at Blue Water Rise. This is again a plan unit development, final plat, and this is major subdivision 002-916-2024. The applicant, once again, is John G. Thomas, PE owner / principal engineer, Thomas Engineering, PA. The owner is Sydes Construction Incorporated. The location, again, is towards County Line Road for Bern, North Carolina. The existing zoning is residential 8, or R-8, and the size for this is 29.66 acres. So the proposed final plat, as part of the plan unit development, is for 68 lots to be used for single-family homes. Subject property, once again, is zoned as R-8, and this is established as a residential zoning district per the City of New Bern's land use ordinance. The purpose for the residential district, as you've already heard, is specifically just for comfortability, health, and safety. It's supposed to be a pleasant environment in which to live. And here is the vicinity map. This is the same, similar, just because they're all, these particular items are all set within this larger parcel. And this is the buffer map to follow behind that, just reflecting the 100-foot buffer. And again, it was utilized in this reference just to try to downsize to give you a location at least, or an idea, just for this area map. And the zoning map, which reflects the R-8 or residential 8 zoning district. And here is the plat in reference to what's being proposed. And again, for the staff evaluation, the proposed subdivision does meet all of New Bern's, the City of New Bern's land use ordinance requirements, and all comments were addressed from the departmental review committee. So, if the board has any questions, I will take those at this time.
Any questions?
None.
Okay, pleasure of the board on this item.
I'll make a motion to accept the Monitor Cape Phase 2 as written.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Okay. I noticed, Kendrick, we had a couple of additional folks walk in, so I don't know if they wanted to speak or,
I will, folks, would you like to speak?
the folks in.
You guys have walked in a little late. Did you want to speak for an item, or you just here to have observed? Was it for a particular item?
It's just, is there the additional exit towards County Line Road for all the additional houses?
I'm not certain as to whether that's going to take place. That probably be another question for the applicant, but in reference to that, I did go through, so I would probably say that we might have to reserve this for public comment towards the end of this one, unless there's something different.
For this particular item, for C?
I think that they were, all the county line items have already been voted on.
Already been voted
That's
on.
what I was saying.
Right.
So, my thought process is maybe for public comment, if they wanted to speak towards the applicant and see, to gain more information.
Right.
that might be-
Rather than to the board. That makes more sense.
For what was proposed, all three of these plats do not propose an additional exit. The actual plat that this one was just voted on is further back in the subdivision, so it wouldn't provide access additionally to County Line Road.
Right, okay. Okay. So, yeah, most likely, the right thing to do is to address your questions to the applicant, and they can answer your questions. Okay, 5D?
Yep.
Okay, we're going to proceed into our last item for tonight. This is Aston Phase 1. It's a cluster subdivision final plat, and this is for major subdivision 002-926-2024. And the request summary here, the applicant and owner is both Streamline Developers LLC, and the location is Landscape Drive, which is close by to Carolina Colors within New Bern, North Carolina. The existing zoning is residential 8, or R-8, and the size is 27.07 total acres. The overview here for the proposed final plat designated as a cluster subdivision is for 71 lots to be used for single-family homes. The subject property is zoned as residential 8, or R-8. This is established, once again, as a residential zoning district within or per the City of New Bern Land Use Ordinance. The purpose for the residential district is to provide comfortability, health, safety, and a pleasant environment in which to live. So here is the vicinity map, and you'll see the two parcels that are involved with the actual subdivision. This is the buffer map, just reflecting that 100-foot surrounding the properties. And here's an aerial map that you can view the same difference. Both parcels are highlighted in red. And lastly, the zoning map to reflect the R-8 zoning district. And this is the proposed final plat. And for staff's evaluation, the proposed subdivision does meet all requirements set forth in the City of New Bern's Land Use Ordinance, and all comments have been addressed from the Development Review Committee. If the board has any questions, I'll take those.
Any questions?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm looking at the document. 27 acres, they're going to have 71 lots
That, within the 27 acres, that's my understanding.
versus the other 20, what was that, 29 and 68 lots?
That, they're two different items, but basically for this particular item, they're gonna have the 71 lots, but these are separate. This is a different location.
Right, okay.
Are there any other questions?
Okay. So I guess in this particular case, we should ask if there's public comment on this particular item before we move on. So is there anyone who wants to make a comment from the public on this particular item that's on the agenda? Okay. Not seeing anyone that wants to make a comment. Pleasure of the board on this item.
Make a motion that we approve the applicant's final plat for Ashton Phase 1 in Carolina Colors.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Okay, any other public comment? Any comments anyone wants to make from the public before we move on? And I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.
Good job.
Thanks.
I'm going to vote you in permanent.